This episode is brought to you by the Shop 1 in 5 Pledge. We believe that when you purchase from a small online or offline business, your dollar goes further. Hey friends, Minna and I created the Shop 1 in 5 Pledge, and we're inviting you to take it with us. It's a commitment to make 1 in 5 of your purchases from a small business, online or offline. It's a way to make an impact together where and when it matters most. Because the truth is, your purchasing power matters now more than ever. Head to shop1in5.com to take the pledge. Make that commitment to shop 1 in 5 of your purchases towards a small business. We also invite you to shop the directory if you don't know where to find other small businesses. It's right there on the page. And we're asking for you to share the pledge. Imagine if each of us told 3 to 4 people about the Shop 1 in 5 Pledge. It would be an incredible and life-changing for so many small businesses. Tell your friends, your family, and your social network. It costs nothing extra and makes a world of difference. Our purchases have the ability to change lives. Okay, let's jump in.
Welcome to the Product Boss Podcast, where we help product-based businesses grow their sales and improve their strategies.
Hey everyone, I want to introduce you to my co-host and biz bestie, Minna Kunlo-Sita, an Amazon guru that has built a multi-6-figure product-based business.
And introducing the other half of the Product Boss, Jacqueline Snyder. She has helped launch and grow over 500 fashion apparel and accessory brands, even one of her own.
And together, we share our inventory of secret weapons that will help you dig deep and do the work it takes.
Are you ready? Let's build together.
Hey everybody, Jacqueline and Minna here, your co-hosts of the Product Boss Podcast. Today, we will be sharing a conversation we had with a fellow female founder. You see, we believe women helping women is what the world needs more of. Introducing our female founder episodes, where we interview fellow female entrepreneurs and highlight their small business.
Our goal is to shine a spotlight on product businesses to encourage our community to support each other, learn from each other, buy from each other, and lift each other up. So let's jump in.
Hey everyone, we have another amazing female founders episode for you today. Today, we're going to talk about reimagining your business journey with a very special guest. We have Lara Van Slyke of Lara B Designs. She is the founder and designer of an amazing leather goods and handbag company. So welcome to the podcast, Lara.
Thank you. Thanks so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
We're thrilled to have you. You're in our mastermind with us right now, and it's such an honor to get to work with you in there and to really kind of help you on your business journey and growing this business, right? It's a beautiful business.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's been amazing. I mean, it's been amazing to be part of the mastermind and part of, the Product Boss. It's like I was saying, it's motivational. It's very invigorating and, being with everyone in the group, and I love it. I love the energy. So
yeah, such an honor to work with you. So tell our listeners what you make.
I design and create a collection of leather handbags and accessories. So all of the leathers that I use are handpicked from local sources domestically, as far away as Italy, Spain, Brazil. And I do travel to kind of pick things out. So, but I really concentrate on leather that has just a buttery soft texture, very lightweight, and something that's really unique that you won't see in every brand. So I like to keep very clean lines, practical styles, but yet let the leather really shine through with my designs.
But you make the leather goods yourself, right? Everything's handmade.
I do. Yes, everything is handmade. Right now, everything is handmade in this studio, except for a couple of styles that I do outsource. So,
which are your best sellers, and you had to scale those, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to kind of like rewind to the beginning of your journey. So you are like me, you have a degree in fashion, and it's our paths were very similar, like working in markets and being in LA and all the things that you did. But so let's kind of just go back to that journey of when you decided to start your own product-based business, which was a handbag business. Were you the maker then, or how did your journey first start out when you started this business?
Well, when I first started, I was looking for it was after design school, and I decided that I wanted to start my own business. So I actually looked in the yellow pages to find a handbag manufacturer, and I did. I found one in LA, and I worked with him. He was fabulous. He was also a one person, one man band. And he was great to work with, as well as I found a company in Mexico that I was able to work with. And it was great. I was working with both of them for a few collections that I did, and I was doing wholesale and selling cross country. Whenever I would travel, I would go ahead and, check out a local store and things like that, visit friends and find new retailers. And my big win was Tracy Ross on on Sunset. That was they were great, super to work with. And so, it really evolved from there. But that was my first incarnation.
So when you started off as a designer where you designed and you worked with manufacturers, right, to create your patterns,
yes,
to make the goods for you. And you kind of went the traditional route, which is where you and I align, especially from fashion background. Did you go to markets? Did you go to Accessories to Show or any of those kind of shows?
I did DNA. Designers and agents.
Was it in the Cooper building then, or where was what?
No, I did it actually in New York.
Oh, okay.
I did, yeah. Again, I was traveling back here. I like to travel.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, that was probably the only design, trade show that I did.
Mm-hmm.
But
so you were doing trade shows, you were manufacturing, you were selling wholesale. It was all traditional. And then you were selling as well, right? You were kind of representing yourself.
Absolutely.
You didn't have a sales rep.
I didn't have a sales rep. No, whenever I went with all my wholesale accounts, I went door to door, and I would kind of load the small bags into the big bag with my line sheets and swatches, walk in and ask for the buyers. And no one knew that I was actually the maker. So I had to have a very thick skin for whatever they might say. And luckily, most of them were very, very kind. But, you never know what somebody is going to say. So, but that's how I got all my retail accounts, was just, one-on-one and walking in and following up, a lot of follow-up and, notes, and which is something that I learned, in my wholesale, working in showrooms and things like that in my background. So.
Right. Yeah. Because your background was you used a fax. We're not even talking yellow pages. You probably used fax machines too, right?
I had a fax machine. Absolutely. It was kind of a fax. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then it was truly boots to the ground. This is where the term bootstraps comes in, right? It's literally you strap your boots, you get moving, you go door to door, you make it happen, you make the connections, you make the phone calls afterwards, you rep yourself. And I love that, because that is a hard lesson to learn in sales sometimes, but it's the best learning experience that you could ever have.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed that, just like now, or pre-COVID, working with the customers, and getting their feedback. That is the most valuable, when you can really talk to your customers. It's fabulous to be in a store and have my wholesale accounts, which I love, but I miss out on hearing exactly what, they love this style, but they wish it had a back zipper or a front pocket or a crossbody strap. And many of my designs have evolved from listening to my customers. So it's so great to, really have that feedback.
Yeah. Real quick though, on saying that, was it one customer and then you changed everything, or did you get feedback from more than one person and then that's when you added?
Oh, many. Yeah.
Okay.
No.
I just clarify that.
No.
Before everybody starts changing everything that's listening.
No. It's when you hear things over and over and over and, no way. Yeah.
Okay, good. Because sometimes people are like, I'm thinking of doing X. Everyone's telling me. And we're like, how many is everyone? And they're like,
No.
Two people.
No.
One was my uncle, but still.
So you were doing the traditional route. You were selling boots on the ground, manufacturing your bags, great success in Tracy Ross on Sunset. And then what happened?
And then it got to a level where I just felt like I needed more help. And I couldn't really manage, and I couldn't do it anymore. And I wasn't in MSM or, I wasn't working with you. Yeah. Or the mastermind. So, it was just too much. It was too much. And I just sort of had to put it on the back burner. I just decided, you know what, this is it. I need to distance for a bit. And, so I did. I had to do that, unfortunately.
Well, but fortunately too, because like what I love about this story and your journey is that you realize this wasn't working for you, right? You did it. I mean, and the way you were doing it is exhausting, traveling, selling, making all the things. And so you're like, okay, I've grown it to this point. And then you had that decision of, do I take it? Where do I take it next? Or, and then for you, your choice was to pull back. Yeah. Right. To kind of reimagine what your life would look like. Cause it feels like maybe your life and your business were no longer aligned.
Right. Things. Yeah. The balance was way out of whack. And, that's exactly it. So I just had to, just shelf it. And it was never anything that I said, I'm never going to do this again. I just knew that timing wise, I had to just wait a little bit. So, and it's worked out better, I think. So.
How many years off did you take between sort of that route, that journey to where you are now?
It was about 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah. And you know what? We do go through long seasons of our life, right? There's certainly times when I'm like, oh, this would have been so much easier if I didn't have little kids, you know?
Says every mom during COVID.
Exactly.
So, but your creative spirit was there and you still love accessories and handbags. And so then what brought you out of retirement 10 years later?
So I was working freelance and moved back east. And I still had it in the back of my mind, and my freelance had dissolved. So prior to that, I had already started kind of on the side, like, I really want to do this. I really want to get things going. And so I made my clutch, and, and I was like, oh, this is great. And, then the design kind of dissolved, and I was like, okay, this is it. Either I really go for it right now, or I decide to just go and get a full-time job, which there was just no way. So my husband and I happened to be walking down the street and passed an Etsy store, one of their pop-up stores. And so he said, just go in, see what they say, see if you can, set up. And so I did. I went in and asked, and I remember it was Halloween. And I said, do you have any extra space? And they said, not in this store, but we are opening one down the street. And this is on Newbury Street in Boston, which is a great place to be. And she said, it'll open December 1st. So, are you interested? Fill out the application. So I did. And it was all completed within about 24, 48 hours. And so I was accepted and had a month to start creating more than just my clutch. So I designed a tote and a couple of crossbodies, and I didn't have a ton of stock, but I had enough, and it was great. It was fantastic. I had a very small, like 3x3 space, but I made it work, and I went home at night and sewed whatever I sold that day, and so that I kind of kept my stock going, and it was fantastic. So it really gave me that energy, like, okay, this is it. this is the time.
Yeah, because you put it on the back burner, and you probably always felt like there's that little piece of you, right? Oh, it's still, when we're passionate about something, sometimes we do put it on the back burner, and then it comes back and it's reinvigorated, and it's always something that's been lingering with us no matter what. So it sounds like that's what happened for you.
Yeah, exactly. I was re-energized, and I knew that, now everything was going to kind of fall into place. I felt like I knew about the next steps of, I didn't know everything, but I knew that there were markets and things like that I wanted to try, which I never even considered in LA. So, it was definitely a different direction, and a little bit more of an organic way of building things, which I was happy about. So.
Well, I think also just that 10-year jump forward, technology changed, right? You didn't have back to, yellow pages and fax machines. Because my retail experience too, was early 2000s, markets, like you said, like purchase orders, but paper fax to you.
Yeah.
Credit cards were a newer thing in POs kind of thing. So as you leaped forward in time and in technology, then you saw that there were other ways to contact people. There were other ways to sell. The fact that Etsy was taking an online presence and doing physical pop-ups, because I think that was around 2015, right? You said that you did it. And that was sort of that time of pop-ups kind of coming back and being a big thing. So it's kind of like that right time, right place. But what I hear you saying, which, well, one, yay to your husband for that nudge, nudging you back into your passion, but that idea of things falling into place, and you had the experiences that you had, and then you could make different decisions for your business moving forward.
Sure.
Like what you reimagined what it could look like. Because you and I come from a traditional perspective where traditionally it was this way. And it wasn't, when Minna and I met, I also saw this other side, this other world of making, manufacturing, selling in different ways in the traditional route, which is where you started.
Yeah. Right. And I've been a part of that traditional route too. And it does feel there's a different energy about it, right? When you go back and you're like, oh, when Jacqueline and I started speaking at trade shows, I was like, oh, I forgot how this feels. So you almost
I do love a trade show.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. There's just, it lights you up in a different way. It's like a different energy about it. So it's really great. I also grew up in the time of faxes. I was in the yellow pages, like I said, for when I first started my business, which I still get phone calls from, because I don't know what happened, but that number transferred over to, my life now. Right. So 20 years later, still, so it's amazing what, that journey looks like. And so, 2015, you started taking that journey, and it sounds like you just enjoyed it more, right? As far as like taking it slow, figuring out what you loved, reimagining it. Is that the pace that you were kind of doing in the organic?
I absolutely did. I'm based in Boston. And so there were a lot of outdoor markets and things like that. So I, mainly 2 on the week, 1 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday. And so I signed up for every one that they had all season long, April through October, every weekend, which was insanity, but I did it, I met fabulous other artists and things like that, and really had a sense of community and of other, people going through, we're all setting up, we're all doing the same thing on the weekends and things like that. So it was great. It was definitely a good way to start, but it was, again, it kind of went back to the work-life balance, and it was just craziness. So, you hear a lot of ideas from other artists about other shows and things like that. So I was able to, hear about juried craft shows and things like that, so I was interested in that. My price point of my product tends to be a little bit higher. So also I was doing these shows every weekend, but it wasn't necessarily the best place for me. So I learned that, that it's great for the feedback and to hear, the customers that love things and, what they need. But I was able to kind of start to apply for other shows, and that really started to travel more, and I really felt like things were more valid and just made more sense to me, I guess. So,
maybe more aligned with what you wanted.
Right.
So you got back into it. You're selling during the day, you're making. And so what did the next couple of years look like pre COVID times. If we can remember pre-COVID times. Yeah.
They were great. Every year you kind of reassess. The first year was all about the weekends. And then the next year was about, this show in Maryland and this show in San Francisco or Michigan or, wherever. So Chicago. And so I would kind of let certain shows go that weren't really working and just sort of fine tuning. But sales wise, everything was really gaining momentum by, leaps and bounds. So I was able to actually then get into, in 2018, I applied for a Grand Central Holiday Show. So that was huge. And
huge show.
It's not easy to get into. And actually one of the organizers had contacted me and asked me if I wanted to be in the show. And it was, it's a giant commitment, but it was pretty much life-changing, I think. So I'm really, really glad I did it. And, and again, sales just kept going. So it was 2018, 2019, and then we have COVID.
Again, 2020 happened. It was a whole nother life after that.
But before we jump into that part of it all, would you say that your main driver of sales was in person then? It sounds like you were still boots to the ground in person. Was anyone buying anything online? Did they have that ability, or was still really in-person shows?
Absolutely. It was 90% in person.
Okay.
And then, I have had my Shopify site for years and I love it. But it wasn't, I also had Etsy for a while, but then I got rid of that. But yeah, it was mostly in person.
Okay. So you kind of almost repeated what you were doing, right? Traveling all over the place, in person, contingent on you. And I'm sure, and I wonder if towards that 2019, were you starting to kind of feel burnout again from in person, or were you?
Absolutely. My next reassessment for 2020 was dive into wholesale.
Okay.
I was like, okay, I've got some traction. I understand what the customer wants. I know what's selling. I know, what I need. And so that was my plan. And one of the shows that I do is in Maryland, and it's wholesale and retail based in February. So that was, so I had a few stores, but it was something that I really, really wanted to grow in 2020. So that was my plan.
Okay. And then it's 2020.
Yeah. But it sounds like, it really, because what I love about your journey is that you're constantly realigning yourself because you already knew what it was like not to be in alignment with your business. Now everybody was thrown out of whack when it came to 2020, right? But it sounds like you were already on that way, right? You were already figuring out that, I want to look at more wholesale. I don't want to do as many in-person events. And what does that look like? And then it was kind of thrust upon you that, well, better do it now because all the in-person events were canceled during 2020. And then now you still have done the same, that strategy, and now that you're in the mastermind with us and we've just started working with you, has it been like a couple months now?
Exactly.
And that's the track is getting you into wholesale and seeing, online wholesale and seeing what that looks like for you.
Yeah. And that's been great. So I have gotten into Fair and Abound and have orders already, within a week. So it was, I feel like, okay, it's the right time, So, and some of my other retailers are doing really, really amazing. So, I feel like it's, for me, my product, it's definitely coming around. And it's,
And then are you leaning more into direct to consumer online as well? Like trying to sell directly to them through your website?
I am through emails and things like that. I find that, growing that email list is hugely important. And they like the reminders. They like to know what's going on and know, where you're at. And so that has definitely generated good sales for me as well. So
amazing. And I think that's something important to say because like Minna said, we all kind of got knocked off our our feet. Basically, when it happened, we said it back then. We had plans.
Yeah.
And our plans had to change. What I found actually really interesting, and we were working with so many people that were doing in person and did not want to keep doing in person, but they felt like they had no other options. They were like, this is how my business is built. This is how it's always going to be. And when in person was canceled, it was, canceled. And even actually retail, I'm sure for you too, dipped because retailers also didn't know what to do. They weren't getting foot traffic. They also maybe weren't online. It was also this, we were all in it together. We really saw that kick on, people had to get online. They had to start selling direct to their consumers. So what's really interesting, we've seen this with so many students, is that they were like, this is the only way, right? In person was the only way. In person was taken completely off the table. They had to find another way. And because they had to, they were kind of pushed into it. They have transitioned their business where now we can talk to students and they're like, I'm up year over year without in person. And that's the stuff that's really exciting and amazing, because imagine now if you get to go back to in person in the way that you want to, if you wanted to, plus you've established this business that's stable online, that has an email list, that has retailers, that you've got multiple streams of revenue, which is, multi-stream machine. The possibilities are endless, right? And the growth is wherever you want it to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's, that is definitely the way I look at it. I definitely want to grow other streams of revenue, whatever that may be. But that's,
So how is 2021 looking for your business? Like
it's definitely up for sure. So, over 2020.
Right. But here's the thing too, right? Do you feel like you're aligning yourself to be where you want to be with your business?
Yes. 100%.
Good.
100%. Yeah. Yes. And I know that it is going to grow, and even more than what it is. So it'll be even better than what I'm hoping.
And I mean, that's the goal. And you invested in yourself, the business owner, like you said. I mean, when you started, podcasts weren't even a thing.
No.
Maybe you and I would have met on a trade show floor at sourcing, and then maybe we would have worked together at that point. But even when I was starting, people weren't hiring consultants. Like I was one of the first people to have a website back then. So, but what I love about you and your story, and just like your perseverance, your tenacity, that you're able to reimagine throughout your journey, like to make sure that your life and your business aligns. And even maybe when you weren't expecting it, right? But you were probably on the brink of burnout again. And so we all sort of got kicked into this other world. But now, I mean, I'm really excited about 2021, because I think that there's all these new possibilities. We all know how to work with this sort of like with the pandemic and with things being open and shut down. We're all learning this new way. And then imagine what's possible. Because I know with handbags, I'm sure also, and a lot of us haven't left our houses, we haven't needed handbags, right? I am telling you though, with the weather changing and with like the vaccine out there and all this stuff, I am so excited of all the things I'm going to buy when I leave my
Exactly. And I know that will, once that happens, once the, vaccine is there, things will, get back. I do have collectors of mine who are, I have 2 or 3 that I'm waiting to use. And, so it's great. I mean, I know it's there. It's just a matter of, again, persevere, and, you have to, wait for it and
that patience.
Yeah.
I wonder if the stores that are buying you, are they in certain areas that are more open than others? Have you paid attention to that data?
Not, yes, but some of them are seasonal, actually, that have been buying and selling. My best retailer is in a seasonal location, and she is sensational.
I mean, people are open, people are shopping. Mina and I just this last weekend, it was the first time that we both took our kids to stores. I think it's just this, I think there's this feeling of hope, and I think we're going to all start to see things shift again, and things that, I mean, for you, our goal for you, especially within the mastermind, is to make sure that you're stable and ready for this growth, because so many things I think are going to come your way, and we want you to just be ready for what that is to boost this business back up.
Yeah. Right. I think if there's one takeaway from this podcast episode for everybody who's listening, it is that there's not one right path to success for any business, right? Or even one person, because even when we see Lara's journey, there was the manufacturer with the one, little manufacturer that you partnered with essentially, right? Then there was the version where it's like you're traveling back and forth and you are going to trade shows, right? And then there's the in-person trade shows, which is a different version of a trade show because it's an in-person direct-to-customer trade show. And now there's this other version that you have, right? And all those can lead to different versions of success, but which one is it that aligns with you the best? And there's different ways to get there every single time, So that is like, I love your story because of that, because you're just such a light and you're just, so positive and still it is, you're developing your own version of what that looks like for you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I and I have to have to be positive and make it happen, believe that it will happen and be brave. Gosh, it's okay to make a mistake and, you never know. So you never know who you're going to meet too. That's always something I told myself, at a show. It was a slow day and, you just like, it just takes that one person to walk in who's XYZ and, and you just never, it was so interesting to me. So I know that there's other ways to absorb that too, that feeling. So,
yeah.
Do you have a tip that kind of feels like a tip, but do you have a tip for other product bosses out there from your journey that you'd like to share with them?
I would say, the be brave part of it. But also initially I remember somebody telling me that it's a really hard business and you really shouldn't bother. And I was like, I'm sorry. Yep. Okay. I was like, yeah, whatever. Don't let anybody tell you no. If this is your dream and this is, in you and, lights your fire, then you really have to go for it and believe. So yeah, it's just about, believing in yourself, I think is huge.
Amazing. So share that. Thank you for that. That's so true. And so share with our listeners how they can buy from you, follow you, and share your company.
I am Lara B Designs, Lara, the letter B, and designs with an S.com, and Lara B Designs on Instagram and Facebook. So
amazing. Make sure to support her as a small business, to buy from her, to follow her, to share with anyone that that would love her handbags and leather goods. So thank you so much for being on this podcast. You really are truly such a light and inspiration and hope. And I hope that our listeners can take a little bit of that away too into their journey.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's been awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Lara.
This episode is brought to you by the Shop 1 in 5 Pledge. We believe that when you purchase from a small online or offline business, your dollar goes further. Hey friends, Minna and I created the Shop 1 in 5 Pledge, and we're inviting you to take the pledge with us. It's a commitment to make 1 in 5 of your purchases from a small business, online or offline. It's a way to make an impact together where and when it matters most. Because the truth is, your purchasing power matters now more than ever. We're inviting you to take the pledge if you head to shop1in5.com. The link is in the show notes. And when you get there, please make sure to share the pledge with your friends, your family, and your customers. Let's invite everyone to take the Shop 1 in 5 pledge so that we can all use our purchasing power to change lives.